Section 4.7b is about writing arithmetic sequences. This first sentence here says you can find the next term in a sequence by adding the common difference. We learned that in the last video, to the preceding term, the one that comes in front of it. So let's look at this sequence here. How do you get from 74 to 67? Well, you're going to add 7 to get there. No, I take that back. You're going to subtract 7. How do you get from 67 to 60? Subtract 7. So by doing that, we notice this is an arithmetic sequence. So how do we get from 53 to the next term? Well, we know we're going to subtract 7. Well, what is 53 minus 7? We're going to get 46. So the next term in the sequence is 46 because it follows the arithmetic sequence pattern. The next sequence, take a look. To get from -8 to 11, we're going to subtract 3. Because we're going to go down, we're going down 3. From -11 to -14, we'll subtract 3. And we'll subtract 3. Which means to get from -17 to the next term, I'll subtract 3. Which means my next term has to be -20. So you can actually figure out what the terms are in a sequence by continuing to add or subtract the common difference. The problem is when you get into really big terms or really big sequences that are very long, you're going to need some help to do that. And what we've developed is this formula. Now I know this looks very complicated, and I understand it is, but take a second to break it down a little bit. This is nothing more than a pattern to show you that you can develop this formula for a term in a sequence. And here's what the formula says. It says the nth term, which we call a sub n, that's how you say that, a sub n. The nth term of a sequence, an arithmetic sequence, with the first term a sub 1 and a common difference d is given by this. Well, what is this? The first thing is this a sub n, that represents the nth term. So if you want the 9th term, you use a sub 9. If you want the 100th term, you use a sub 100. That's what a sub n is. It's an arithmetic sequence, and what term do you want? This a sub 1, that represents the first term in an arithmetic sequence. So whatever the first term is, you put in place of a sub 1. And then this d represents the common difference. So whatever the common difference is, you put that number in for the d. And then the n is just a number of whatever term. So if you want the 4th term, n is a 4. So that's really what this formula is. It helps us build a sequence around the different parts of it. A sub n is what term in the sequence, a sub 1 is the first term, n is the number of the term, and d is the common difference. Here we're asked to find the 14th term in this sequence. So I have 4 terms, and I got to find out what number 14 is. I could just add the common difference every time, but I'm going to practice using my formula. We'll go back and we're going to rewrite this formula here. A sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. I'm just making sure that that's correct. Okay, so now we've got to plug the different things in. A sub n is the 14th term, so I want a sub 14. I want the 14th term of my sequence. And that equals a sub 1, which is my first term, so I'm going to put a 9 in there. N is 14 because that's the number of the term that I'm looking for. And then d is the common difference. Well, what is my common difference? To get from 9 to 17, I add 8. Do you add 8 to go from 17 to 25? Yes, you do. So we're going to put an 8 in for the d. So that's how you plug the values into your formula. And now you just do algebra. So to find a sub 14, or the 14th term, we're going to take 9 plus 13 times 8. Well, what's 13 times 8? 8 times 3 is 24. Carry the 2. 8 plus 2 is 10. So that's 9 plus 104. Which is 113. So a sub 14 equals 113. And that was pretty quick. I think if you kept adding 8, you'd probably get to 113 about the same time. Now, if we ask you for the 114th term, that would take a very long time, which is why we're going to use this formula to find a certain number term of an arithmetic sequence. Here we're asked to find the ninth term of this sequence. So this sequence has a common difference of plus 4, it looks like. Yeah. So a sub n, I'm looking for the ninth term. So a sub 9 equals the first term, which is a 7, plus I want the ninth term, so 9 minus 1 times my common difference of a 4. Plug all those values in. The ninth term equals 7 plus 8 times 4. Well, 8 times 4 is 32, and 32 plus 7 is 39. So the ninth term in this arithmetic sequence is the number 39.